X-Men 97. X-Men 97. Which is the new X-Men, like the 90s X-Men follow-up. It is a direct follow-up, apparently, to the original 90s cartoon. I heard people said it was good. I wasn't going to watch it. She said it was really good. I was like, maybe we could watch it together. So we watched the first 3 episodes that were out. There's a new one out. I might watch it later. Apparently it has a bunch of references to the Capcom X-Men games, which is cool. That is a really good first 3 episodes. I'll say that. I'll say it was I was very invested, especially by the end of the 3rd one. So when I was a kid, because I heard so much about how awesome that 90s show was. When I was like a little kid, I went on YouTube and I watched like 20 or 30 episodes, quite a bit of the original 90s cartoon. I remember very little from it, but I remember liking it, and I remember it being really cool. And 97 is, I can't say how accurate it is, how in line it is with that original show, tone-wise, writing-wise. I can't really judge it on that front, but I can judge it kind of on its own merits. So first off, I'm very interested in the characters, in the writing, right? I think that this is a really cool. This is a nice. I say cool, but it's not like new, right? I'm assuming it's based off of the previous versions, those versions of those adaptations of the characters. Everyone feels like they have a personality. The interactions that we've gotten between the characters is fun. I liked just these, like in the end of episode 2, there's some fun, like quick little montage of the characters interacting with each other kind of on their own, or like, separate. And you got these fun little things like, oh, Morph brings Wolverine beer and stuff like that. And they have a little sparring session. The whole twist with, I guess spoilers, I suppose. Spoilers for X-Men 97, the first episodes 1 through 3. The whole twist with Magneto, like, reforming, kind of, to honor Xavier's legacy is interesting. I don't know how in line that is with his previous character in the show, but it's at least interesting, and it creates... it's a cool dynamic to have this guy that everyone on the team, no one on the team like fully trusts, but they kind of have to. And the interactions so far have been cool. I think the second episode where they have like the hearing where Magneto's on trial, and there's like this protest, and this like anti-mutant extremist comes in, like all that stuff's really cool. I'm really into the Magneto's character in this show. Like I like every scene he's in, I just want to see what he does. Because you're also kind of wondering yourself, like, what are his true motives? Is he being honest? Is he not? And how does that reflect on him? They reveal that he had a relationship with Rogue before, and and it's like this whole thing. Like, we're laughing watching it because there's been a couple moments of like Gambit getting cucked. I feel so bad for him. They took out Rogue's ass. They took her ass away, goddammit, like Wario, which is maybe the biggest knock against the art style. I guess the other thing about the visuals that I will say is it's a little weird. Sometimes the animation is really good, and sometimes it's weird. And I don't want to say bad, because I was kind of thinking this, was wondering this, and Kat also kind of thought maybe it was the case that they were trying to match the animation of the original show to make it not feel like super different. And I can understand that, but it doesn't stop it from looking a little strange at times in a way that takes me out a little bit. Like some of the characters' movements. Okay, here's the dichotomy. The action looks really good. Like the choreography camera angles, the whole the storyboarding, the actual quality and fluidity of the animation, the like heft of the attacks and everything. Like the action is really cool. That is pretty on point so far. But in these moments where the characters are just casually interacting, it's like, I don't know. There's a weird jerkiness sometimes to their movements. Some kind of like weird camera angles that feel like they're trying not to animate things. A little bit, it's not quite as bad, but I described it as like, there's like one shot where they zoom in like so close on Rogue's eyes that it's practically just like a still. It's so funny, like while she's supposed to be talking, and it feels like cost-cutting measures. And it takes me out of the show a little bit, just a little bit. But that's like my only real complaint with the visuals, because there's some really cool looking sequences, right? Story wise, yeah, I'm really interested in the stuff with Magneto. I'm interested in like I like that they're allowing like Cyclops and Jean to like have a relationship together and be adults. And there is like adult feeling stuff between them. That third episode is crazy. I like went over it in my head after watching it, and I can't believe how much they packed into a 30-minute episode. You get so much. Like if this was the Castlevania Netflix show, they would have told that across like a whole season. You know, like so much shit happens. There's like the Jean Grey comes in like a stinger of the previous episode, and then this one starts. They find out she's the Jean Grey they know is actually a clone, and this one's the real Jean Grey, which means that Cyclops had a baby with a clone, and she was made by Mr. fucking Sinister. His name is Mr. Sinister. And then the clone gets contacted telepathically. She's like a sleeper agent, and she becomes the Goblin Queen. And like, I was losing my shit. If I was a kid, that would have done some crazy shit to me. She's the Goblin Queen, and she takes the baby, and they go to Mr. Sinister's vampire castle, and the real Jean Grey, the original one, has like there's this whole sequence with like this mental battle where she has this like telepathic come to Jesus moment with the clone. And it's like a whole sequence, and then the clone and Cyclops go and they confront Mr. Sinister, and the baby was in this green goo, and the green goo is like a techno virus, and the techno virus is gonna kill the baby unless they can get him to the future. And Bishop, his like time travel thing is finally working, but he only has enough energy to take himself and the baby, so they have to say goodbye to the baby, and they're never going to see him again so that he can survive in the future, where they'll have a cure for it. And it's like, this happens in one episode. And there's still like a stinger at the end. There's still like a whole scene of like setting up another thing for like Storm. Like, it is fucking crazy how much is crammed in there, and it never felt like too much. It never felt like it was too much, like too much was happening, or it was getting rushed. It was actually very impressive. Also, the fact that they don't have to factor in commercial breaks is nice. They get like an extra 5 minutes to play with. But like, wow, honestly kind of impressive. Also, very X-Men storyline. I think a lot of people would characterize the X-Men as like, oh, they're like action adventure stories. No, the X-Men is a superhero soap opera. It's Grey's Anatomy for nerds instead of like moms, you know. X-Men is like someone was a clone, someone was, oh, they died, but there's relationship drama, but then they came back to life, but then there's this guy, but then this guy's from space, but then this guy's evil and mind control, and like, and it's just like this it is a soap opera drama. That's like the core of the X-Men. Like story wise to me. And goddamn, if this was not an X-Men storyline, you had so much shit happening and so much absurd drama. It was like when we were watching Pride and Prejudice together, and at one point I just snapped and I said, "There's always some bullshit going on with these people." That's what they are. That's what there's some bullshit. Fucking Jean Grey. Jean Grey walks into the room crying, holding a letter. There's always some bullshit with these people. But yeah, so far, really enjoyable show. Like, I am invested. I'm locked in. I'm really interested to see where it goes. And I would recommend checking it out wherever it is legal or illegal to do so.